Hey guys, and you're back with No Bullshit Reviews and on Maniac Part 2. Alright, so talking about the kills, because that's what people care about mostly when you talk about horror movies, at least like the hardcore people. Kills and story and all that other shit, and not, obvious, you know, oh well, she died because she was having sex. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, but this movie is totally different in that way, and that's why I think it got me so much, because it was completely random. It was so much like how people really died, because these serial killers, you're just walking, and all of a sudden he spots you, locks onto you like some sort of animal, and you just had the luck of, well, the bad luck of being in the wrong place and the wrong time. And since these victims in this movie truly were victims, didn't even have names, I believe. Like, you just referred to them all as the nurse, as the whatever. Since they don't even have names, they're not personalized in any way. They don't have any character developing moment, not even a second. They're just victims, plain as day, just victims. People who just didn't deserve it. They were not having sex in the van. They were not being an asshole to the fat kid. They weren't drinking. They weren't smoking a joint. They were just people. And so you find yourself sitting there rooting for these people like, oh my, no, don't walk there. Bitch, take that ride home, like, oh my God, like, walk faster. Like, what are you doing? It's late at night. Why are you doing this to yourself? But at the same time, you don't feel like they're being dumb because, again, they're just people. And also, another awesome thing I found out about that, like, I observed about these people just in this movie, I figured that they were actually really good actors, which is retarded because usually the extras are so shitty. Like, the victims, they're like shitty actors, but in this movie, it was just like so real. And the way it was shot, obviously it was shot indie style, but the way that the actors would just, like, these victims would just go about it, they were just so natural about it. It was almost like, all right, bitch, no rehearsal, just come in here and I'm just going to attack you. I mean, if I were faced with Joe Spinel, I believe that, that guy is so fucking scary. He can make anybody act like a true ass victim. Just like, I think that was just the magic of him in this movie. I believe that he just brought everything together, because watching this movie is like magic. It's like watching it and you're like, oh my God, this is so great. After all the shitty horror movies that we endure today, you pretty much tell yourself, this is so great. Now, that's how I stand on with the victims. I really liked it, really hated it in the way that it made me feel bad. Rob Zombie once said that a movie's good if it makes you need to take a shower afterwards. This movie must have been awesome because I felt like I got shot in the face afterwards. So I was completely without words. I was like, I had to tell someone about this goddamn movie. I was like, oh my God. So I like aimed it because it was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Who the fuck am I going to call? Like a fucking retard. Like, oh, dude, man, I watched fucking Maniac. This shit was awesome. Oh my God, it was like, fucked me up, man. Yeah, nah, that wouldn't have gone over well. But let's talk about Joe Spinell for a moment and how he comes in with the kills. The kills are not quick / gory kills. The kills are just dragged along. Just dragged. But not like wide shot dragged, but more like close in their faces sort of dragged, which pushes the reality factor more. And Joe Spinell's face is just priceless every time he's killing or hunting someone. He's just someone else. It's like this animal. It was just so amazing to see. And I mean, the strangling of this prostitute took like a minute and a half or even longer. It was just like, and she's like dying there, and it's like she's taking forever to die. In another movie, she would have been dead in like 30 seconds. But in this one, she was just like literally choking to death, and he's just like up there, like, doing his little face, and he's totally freaking me out. And I'm like, wow, again, awesome. So the kills are totally dragged out. He sometimes he even interacts with the victims. He sets them up for certain things. He kind of explains to us why killers walk. You know, I mean, if you watch this whole movie, it makes you feel like, oh wow, that's why killers walk, so they can see where they're going. I mean, he just took this and he made it into this whole new level. I mean, that movie was amazing. It was great in that way, visually. Joe Spinel, the shadows, awesome. I mean, just Joe Spinel. I mean, he was just awesome in this movie. Let me think. Yeah, so basically, yeah, everything about this movie was great. Continuity error. The biggest continuity error I saw was in this train scene when he's chasing the nurse. It's like on the platform, she's opening it up, and there's people there. And all of a sudden, when she stops trying to open up because the train leaves, there's no people there. So I was like, oh my God, you didn't have enough money to go back and fix that. So yeah, I kind of had to do a double take on that. I had to be like, whoa, wait. There were just people there. And it kind of gives you that, like, it kind of gasses you a little bit. If you guys don't know what that means, that little slang right there, it kind of like fools you a little bit because you're thinking, oh yes, she's safe. And like after that, it's like, oh shit, she's alone. It's like nobody there. So you're like, it kind of like makes that stab a little bit harder, especially since he like lets the victims have a little minute of joy and then they die. I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was smartly written, intelligently written, really did his homework. The intensity and the darkness and the grittiness is there all the way through. It's the guy battling his own demons, and sometimes you even feel bad for him. Like sometimes you even like him because he's like a chameleon within himself. It's like he doesn't have a personality apart from this possibly 10-year-old boy. It's like he's always acting. But it gets really psychological, and I could sit here and feed you all the psychobabble you can muster, but this is a movie review. And if you're into psychological things and you're into serial killers, you sit down and watch this movie and it's like, oh my God, it's like cake. You love it. I mean, I loved it because I'm into those things, and it really, it was my thing and I really liked it. So I refer this movie, it gets a 5 out of 5 because it is absolutely something that every horror fan needs to see. And if you don't, then you're missing out something great. A friend recommended The Last Horror Film to me. He's also in it. I will be watching it tonight and I will have a review on it. But I think I'm going to come back with a review on Beyond the Mask. The Leslie Vernon story. Another film that completely surprised me. And I will be reviewing that, I think, right after this. I might like look it over again, but yeah, like right after this. So yeah, this movie gets a 5 out of 5. Why? Because it was awesome. And I hope you guys I don't know if you could pick it up, but go to Netflix. It's there. And, you can write me back and see how it affected you. Because believe me, this movie is going to leave a fucking effect. And if it didn't, then I don't know who you are. But it leaves an effect. Now, that's it for No Bullshit Reviews. And I will be back.